Nowadays, we're used to popes traveling all over the world, but it hasn't always been so. 60 years ago this week, Pope Paul VI became the first ever pope to travel to America. His destination was the United Nations in New York to make a strong appeal for world peace. Now, this was only 20 years since the end of the Second World War, and the Pope's words have gone down in history. Never again war. Never again war, he said. It is peace, peace that has to guide the destiny of the nations. Exactly 10 years after that, in October 1975, at the Canonisation of Oliver Plunkett in Rome, that same Pope Paul VI offered to the world our saintly Archbishop as a model of peace and reconciliation. When Oliver first came to Ireland as Archbishop, he quickly got a reputation for being a mediator and a peacemaker. Wherever he went, he was determined to settle disputes and divisions, and he tried to bring harmony and order. He worked at building positive relationships with the Protestant archbishop and clergy, and one of his major achievements was to broker a peace agreement between the notorious Rapparees and the authorities of his time. But within 4 years, the political tide was turning against the practice of Catholicism. But it didn't stop Archbishop Oliver. Despite growing opposition and threats to his health and life, he remained completely committed to his episcopal ministry. By 1678, he was a fugitive, with so many people hunting for him that he was certain he would be captured. In one of his letters at that time, he wrote, "Whatever the danger, I will stay with my flock. I will not abandon them." Eventually, however, Oliver was arrested, and he was put in prison on account of malicious charges against him. He was unjustly condemned to death, and after being dragged through the crowded streets of London, Oliver was publicly executed in a gruesome manner at Tyburn Cross. But even at the gallows, he never lost his hope in the risen Lord. Records show that he died asking forgiveness for his own faults and publicly forgiving all those who had plotted to take away his life. No wonder then, at Oliver's canonization in 1975, Pope Paul VI described him as a man of pardon and peace, an advocate of justice, and a friend of the oppressed. St Oliver, he said, would not compromise with truth or condone violence. He wouldn't substitute any other gospel for the gospel of peace. Oh, what a model of reconciliation, the Pope said. What a sure guide for our day. Friends, 50 years later, we need St Oliver Plunkett more than ever to inspire us in these troubled times of war and violence, when opinions are becoming more and more polarized, and the world seems to prefer putting up walls and barriers to building bridges of trust and peace. Here on the island of Ireland, we still have much to do to address the painful legacy of our own conflict. The unfinished work of peace is perhaps to build meaningful reconciliation in our communities. But in St Oliver's name, we cannot allow ourselves to be robbed of hope. Let's trust and pray that through his intercession, our island and our world might come closer to fulfilling the wish of Pope St Paul VI. Never again war, never again war.